Came from the mud, there's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree, there's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon.
Hey, what is going on, you guys? Welcome to another live stream here at CCXRC. It's going to be an awesome conversation tonight. We have Colby here with MTRC Monster Truck Racing. Some of the coolest retro RC racing on the internet. Quite possibly the coolest. We're going to find out how he does it. And then we're going to steal all his tricks. Nah. If you're joining us after we're live, we'll put a little time code down in the description. It'll let you know when the video starts. You click that little time code, it'll take you right to where the chit chat begins. Probably gonna roll in about a minute. Hold tight.
Hope they won't shoot me down soon.
Here's a little teaser of what we're going to be talking about. Hey, what is going on, you guys? Welcome to another live stream here. We're not going to call this one RC Conspiracies. Not a whole lot of conspiracies going to happen tonight. I haven't actually been able to keep up with any of the conspiracies this week. Anyway, we've been working like crazy. And that's good things. Good to be working again. Keeping busy. But we got Colby here with us. We're going to chat with him. He's got this really cool retro monster truck group. We'll look at his Instagram. We'll talk about everything that they've got going. He's got basically a super scale, you wouldn't know it wasn't real type monster truck. I mean, look at this one right here with the crowd and everything in the stands. We're gonna take a look at all this stuff. It's super epic. All right, let's bring him in here. Colby, what's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Good to be here.
It's Josh Rhodes is in the house. I saw.
Oh yeah,
there's probably gonna be some monster truck guys in here.
Yeah, Josh is one of our family, man. Good to have him in here for sure.
I've seen his trucks there.
Yep. Josh is the man, you know. Josh is you know, he gives me an excuse to use that hashtag shameless digger exploitation hashtag that I use all the time. Just, you know, clickbait, but you know,
yeah,
it works.
Yeah, well, you got a hashtag gravedigger, right? I mean,
oh, of course, yeah.
Got to wear the hat. I mean, people Monster Jam, my hashtag, that kind of stuff. It pulls in the monster truck people that, well, especially yours probably pulls people in thinking they're getting ready to watch an old school VHS duped copy of monster trucks.
Yeah, that's what we go for.
You pretty much fake us out. So let's do a little bit of behind the scenes kind of who is Cody, not RC Cody, not MTRC. What's kind of your background? Where you at?
So Cody's the guy that drives monster trucks. I'm Colby. I'm the guy that just
Colby
work. Yeah, you know.
Okay.
But no, I'm not a St. Louis. Yeah, Cody, like Saucier.
Yes.
Good dude.
Yeah, no, that's what I was talking about this whole time. Not totally messing up your name. I was talking about somebody else. We were gonna get to you in a minute.
Okay, yeah.
Colby, Colby.
I'll hang back. You go with the other guys. No, yeah, I'm out of the St. Louis area, not too far from actually the old Bigfoot shop before they moved. So, you know, that was always kind of a cool thing to see right up the street from me. It was, you know, Bigfoot 5 on the big 10-foot tires, hanging out, you know, just 5 minutes from my house. It was kind of neat place to be, being involved with monster trucks.
So you grew up around the monster truck scene just basically because it was birthed out of your area.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was, you know, at no point in my life have I lived more than like 20 minutes in all the different places that I lived. You know, it's never been more than about 20 to 30 minutes away from their shop. So.
And you do so background. So as people start seeing all the awesome media that you put out here, from graphics to the pictures to the video, your background is in media.
Correct. Yeah, I've been basically full-time freelance video producer for the last 10 plus years. And about 10 years before that, I was doing it part-time. And yeah, so
Not
I live
just
I live
freelance,
all over.
Emmy award-winning freelance.
Yeah.
That's a big deal, man.
Yeah, it's that's something I'm pretty proud of. Can turn around on my couch upstairs and see 3 Emmy awards. It's kind of cool.
So multi-Emmy award-winning. I didn't even get that right. I blew your name. I only gave you credit for 1 Emmy award when you're multi-Emmy award-winning.
I'll take it. I'll take whatever I can get.
You've got awesome backdrop behind you.
Yes.
With the cool Summit and Speed Energy truck doors. You were lucky to get a passenger and a driver, I would say.
It's actually interesting because right back here are 2 posters, like event posters that actually have the door that is on my wall in pictures on the posters.
Okay.
So it's so it's kind of a cool match to have. I didn't do that on purpose. That happened, but yeah. So yeah, got one side or the other. Eventually, I'm going to have enough parts to build a monster truck body, that is really mismatched. But yeah.
Yeah, you just build it from spare parts that you pick up at shows.
Yeah, something like that. Now, these I actually got there for a while. I was doing a lot of work like on Bigfoot's in action DVDs that they put out, and some of the trade for footage was these 2. So
oh yeah, that's not a bad trade.
Yeah, I'll take it. Nice wall hangers.
Yeah, and they're expensive. I know. I've got a son of a digger plate over here on my wall that I picked up not too long ago when I decided to redo the studio in here.
Yeah.
And that used fiberglass is not cheap.
No, it's not. So yeah, that was a cool connection there to have for a while. So
you do videos for monster truck stuff as well. You shoot video.
Correct. So the monsterblog.com, which is, pretty much the premier, coverage source for the monster truck industry. I've worked with them since 2007. Actually, before I was doing, full-time production work for a living, I was working with Ross and with, the crew there at the Monster Blog. So I get to travel, the United States. Now I'm working mainly with a couple of different promotions. Toughest Monster Truck Tour does, I do a lot of work for them. Love working for them. Great people. The Map Motorsports people do a lot of shows here in kind of the central U.S. Monster Truck Throwdown, All-Star Monster Truck Tour. Just any of those guys are good people in my books. So we'll go and cover them whenever we can.
That's awesome. Now, what made you jump over to doing RC monster trucks? Like you've seen the big stuff. You grew up all around it, and then did you start immediately into RC with monster trucks, or was there like you did? Yeah. Okay.
I have never owned it. My very first RC was a Sears Lobo buggy.
Oh yeah.
A little toy grade, but my first hobby grade was a Traxxas sledgehammer. And I'm in the process of I bought one. I'm rebuilding it to look just like my very first truck. But I've never owned a hobby grade RC that wasn't a monster truck. So
that's pretty awesome.
That's been it.
And so from there, you got into racing at some point, or you just started doing videos, or
it was just kind of play around with it. And then, some of my friends like Josh, I had known Josh from doing some of the coverage stuff because he does some of the same kind of things. And I knew he was racing. So kind of on and off tried to get involved with it until Trigger King started up here in St. Louis. And I did a lot of running with them because, those were my buddies that were involved with it. And, got to know some really good people and ran there for 3 or 4 years and got to know guys like Travis Sutton with Sutton Motorsports. If you've not seen his stuff, he's one of the best designers of parts, the best designers of chassis that there is. deserves more credit than he gets. And, you know, he and I got to talking, and that led to what is MTRC now.
Okay. And so let's talk about it. Let's pull up a few of these here.
Sure.
We'll start with your Instagram because we can see lots of images quickly here.
The one that stands out in that little frame right there is the like 20 Barbie cars in my yard.
That's what I was going to go for. So you make all of your crush cars.
Correct. Yeah, about 6 feet to my right, sitting on a concrete floor in my basement with a paint stripper heat gun. I melt them, and then I take an old clod tire and I actually roll over it so it looks like it's crushed. So we have, I want to say we're pushing close to 40 Barbie cars that we have in our possession now. And each one is like an hour and a half to 2 hours worth of work to get them crushed down to look like that.
It looks pretty amazing. And the cool thing is that it's not from a mold. Like, so I have some crush cars that I bought from like Team Blue Groove on eBay, which are great, you know, but they're a mold. And so they all look the same as far as their crush for the most part, where yours all have kind of their own styling. They're different types of vehicles. And they really sell it. Yeah.
And that's what, you know, we didn't want. And I know, you know, this is kind of cliche for everybody to say, oh, we wanted to be different, but, you know, we didn't want to be just another group. And they all do a great job, and they're all really cool to watch. And so I'm not trying to knock anybody by any stretch, but we wanted to do something that was different, that could stand out. And, you know, everybody does like, you know, big outdoor or even indoor, their floors are so big. Well, ours is almost perfect scale to a hockey arena. So it's more like the Monster Jam Arena Tour or the Toughest Tour, or, you know, all these guys that run the arena tours. That's more what our scale is. So it's completely different kind of driving for the guys. And I think they all like that, especially Josh. I know he loves to drive out there just because it's so different. It's tight. It's, you know, it's quick. There's not a lot of, you know, there's not space to get the giant air. So you have to think about it a little different.
When you have the trucks still kind of lined up too, right at the ends, and I've seen some get run into at the end. But look at this, guys. I mean, look at these crush cars. They look so scale, especially as they start getting the dirt on them. It's amazing. Yeah, and I mean, really, it's you know, old like tent nails and a hammer, and they all have a hole drilled somewhere in them. Some are more visible than others, but we try. I see a nail sticking up right here. That's
we try to hide them as much as possible, but you know, as
an axle grabber right there.
Yeah, I'm sure right after that, we took our little mini sledge to that. To knock it right back into that.
Probably just bounced with the truck hitting it. Probably pulled up on it a little. So this all you have wrapped with the stadium.
Correct. Yeah.
Where did you get that idea?
So the International Monster Truck Museum and Hall of Fame, which is up in Indiana, they're actually getting ready to do this coming weekend their big parade to their new building. But they run an RC race as part of their induction ceremony every year. And they had a couple panels of that they put up, you know, directly behind the performance area. Well, you know, Travis Sutton and I and a couple of the other guys, Ross Henshaw, have, you know, we race that every year. And we saw that and we thought, you know, that's cool, but let's expand upon it. And so we built a frame that covers the ends. So it literally, I think the entire thing is 8 feet tall and 60 feet long.
Wow, 60 feet long.
Yeah, but from one corner, it doesn't. We have the side nearest the camera in the videos is open for us to drive on, but it wraps around 3 complete sides of our performance area.
Okay, so that way, as you turn the cameras and stuff, it stays in. Here's some video.
Yep.
And it's how tall you said? 8 feet?
It's just about 8 feet. And just above that, we've got actually lighting from an old lighting rig that I had that shines down. So if you pan up high enough, you know, on the shot, or tilt up high enough, the lighting almost looks like arena lighting because it's placed, you know, in such a way to look like arena. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Man, that's some work you put into it, definite detail. And then the filming, you get nice and low so it feels like they're down on the ground level.
Yeah, that is, it's partial insanity to take a $3,500 JVC camera and it literally sits an inch off the dirt, just so it doesn't get too dirty. But to hang that thing, and that's the same camera I use for my job. So it's I guess it's kind of a risk, but it's totally worth it because it makes everything look right.
Yeah. So this is your son's truck right here,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Wild Child.
Yeah, he got that for Christmas a couple of years ago, and he got all the underpinnings, but he and I designed the body together, and the mind of a then 8-year-old, now 10-year-old kid, they come up with some pretty interesting designs.
These are pretty cool with the little scales or whatever coming off the back.
Yep. Yeah. He kind of went along. He was a big zombie fan as a kid. He loved watching Barry run zombies. So that's where kind of the hair idea came from. And
yeah. So the zombie hair is definitely iconic. It's very cool to watch it going around.
Definitely.
So there's a lot of cool. So talk about this. So this is going back really old school. So tell us about your different classes.
Yeah. So we
don't have the same classes, so I wouldn't even know how to start kind of saying what ones you have.
Sure. So most of the time, up until just relatively recently, we ran what most places call retro, we call vintage, and I'll be honest, it was just hey, we want to be different, so let's call it something different. And then our sportsman class, which is what everybody else calls sport mod. Yeah. We have a couple of guys that, and again, Ross Henshaw with RH Designs and Travis Sutton. They had a couple of 48-inch tall tire trucks, scale 48-inch tall tires that they actually 3D printed themselves. It's amazing the time that they put into them. So they've got a Bigfoot Ranger, they've got a Bigfoot Shuttle, they've got a Rambo Junior, and they built this Gravedigger, the Legend Digger, I guess if you want to call it that, for another one of our guys, Jordan Sicht. And he, it's just amazing. That is probably one of the most realistic trucks that I've ever seen built.
Which one is?
This one here that you're looking at, the Gravedigger.
The leaf springs and stuff are amazing.
Yeah, correct.
Who was this one?
So this is Jordan that runs with us.
Okay.
He and his son Calder run with us. Really great guys.
I see your shameless digger exploitation hashtag.
Yeah.
Followed
anytime a Gravedigger.
So hot, want to touch the hiney hashtag.
Yeah, we have
Sandler reference. That's amazing.
Yeah, we have fun with it. I mean, it really is all MTRC is a group of friends.
Yeah.
There's maybe 10 of us, and it's people that I've known for years that the people that I'll be honest, the people that I want to be there. Because they're my buddies. I know they know how to have a good time. We know how to, joke with each other. They know that to not take it too seriously, and we're definitely more about getting the cool video than we are about the competition end of it. So they all understand that. These are guys I know that get that. So we don't even run brackets. Like we just say we need this truck and this truck to pair up a couple of times because we want to get a cool video of this truck. Like that's how we run it. So this is
almost
called
little grudge matches, just calling somebody out and run them, the two trucks
basically. Basically, we just want to make sure everybody gets the same amount of runs and runs against everybody, so that they can, a lot of these guys like it because they can work on some driving stuff, and I like it because I got a lot of cool footage. So
yeah. So do you drive one here?
Do
somebody step in and film for you?
We have a still photographer. His name is Ed Horman, and I've known Ed forever. And he actually just started up his own photography company called Tadpole Photo Studios. Hope I got that right, Ed. But he does all of our still pictures, and whenever I am running, he does our video for us. This event that you're showing the picture here. Yeah, this was Travis actually put on an event that we went up to in his hometown, and so this was almost kind of like a joint venture event that we did with his stuff. He did a really interesting job where all of his ramps were like custom cut out of cardboard and then like laminated.
Huh.
So they're super lightweight but super strong, and he built like almost like a Monster Jam stadium set out of cardboard, and painted them and striped them, and they look really cool. He did a really good job with it.
So something that people aren't seeing when they watch this, or may not be thinking about even, is your jumps are very scale.
Correct.
Like, so lining them up is not easy.
Correct. Yeah.
So like, you're not going full bore on some of, and they're slower trucks anyway. So that's something we can talk about. What kind of vehicles are these that we're looking at for the most part?
In the retro, and I'll call it retro class just for everybody's familiarity. In that class, it's the same kind of, the same retro class that runs for like Trigger King and all it's the same trucks, same motors. So 27 turn motors, a lot of clodbusters. My son's retro, that Warhorse truck, is a stock clodbuster, but then my retro is Grund Motorsports chassis, full leaf spring, like super scale, slow, heavy, weighs like 3 pounds more than any clod does. And so it just depends. The sport mod class is, the same trucks that run there. The where we're different is that those tractor tire and 48-inch trucks, what we call the heritage class. And we're very exacting on what we allow in. So those are all custom built trucks. Every single one of them is ground up, custom built. They're, custom chassis. Like I said, the 48-inch trucks are, 3D printed. That's brand new. I haven't even run that yet. That's actually my entry into that class.
Okay.
So full leaf spring. It's got an OEM style chassis on it that, Travis cut for me. The axles are some cheap knockoff axle, but they're perfect scale size for that class. So that, we're real specific on what we allow in that class.
This truck looks amazing.
Yeah.
So what axles and things are you running with this?
Yeah, I don't know if I could even tell you the brand on those. There's some kind of like eBay knockoff, like overseas built axle that I'll be honest, they're junk. They're terrible.
Are they like an SCX 10 base? Center pumpkins, right?
They're even smaller than that. They're super narrow. Like that truck is taller than it is wide. I've actually got it sitting next to me. So to give you an idea of, but what's cool about these is they've got the front disc brake that turns.
I was just going to say, yeah.
They're awful axles. They're terrible. They're junk. But when you have 45 turn motors and you're barely hitting things because you're trying to be as scale as possible, they're perfect.
Yeah. So I was going to pull up one you guys just started doing. That was amazing. And that's the one with all the lights and the flashing and all of that. Like you're in the stadium, you went and added a whole bunch of special effects to it.
Yeah, they're on Instagram.
Whoops. I think, did I just remove it? I did remove it. All right. So I think this one here, right in the top.
It's the one with the King Crunch truck. That's the Childress brothers, Jason and Lonnie. That's one of their trucks.
Okay. So here we go.
Yeah, and it's a little harder but it's got full sound, full crowd sound on it, full motor sounds on it. It's even got
I'm gonna see if I can get it to play it. Hold on. We're gonna try and cheat this. I can get my microphone here. That's amazing right there. Yeah, now, I can understand why you wouldn't want to do, say, a full length 5-minute race video of that amount. That's a lot of work.
It's basically impossible. Like I've tried, and I've been trying for like that. That was as crazy as it sounds, and I think you probably know, being in the production realm of things, that was like 4 or 5 months worth of work of trying to figure out how to make that sound and look right. So
I've tried finding the right stuff. I've looked up so many monster truck sound effects, and then you have such long ones, and then trying to find the right sound for when they're revving and
yeah.
like
I actually stole all those from the Rigs and Rods video game.
okay.
Yeah, stole all those sounds from that. So
That would help,
yeah,
I think.
a little bit, but you know, it was, you know, some of the reverb and all that I had to add to it, and then you know,
So were you actually like adding throttle when you'd want it to go, and then like recording that audio?
It was more just the background like sounds in the video game. So I went into like into the source of the video game basically, and just pulled those sounds out, and then took them and just butchered them. I mean, you know, just there's like 5 different levels of sound plus effects plus all of that to get it to sound the way I wanted it to. So
I love it.
Yeah,
it's super cool, and it goes super scale with what you're doing already with the crowd, and then the flashes, because people's flashes work so well from that distance.
Yeah,
as a photographer, that's one of my favorite things to see in a stadium is people's flashes, and they're trying to make it work 150 feet away. Not rated for that.
No, not at
Don't
all.
use the flash, people.
It's so cool from behind a video camera lens to see the flashes go off like that.
Yeah,
that's some
so
of the
keep using your flashes, people. It makes for better photography.
Yeah,
actually
makes our job
videos.
Makes our job better.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's going on, Joe? So Ed was saying stop giving away all the secrets.
Yeah, that's our photog. That's Tadpole Photo Studios, Ed Horman. He's the man. Like I said, one of my best friends in life. Just a really cool dude. And yeah, so sorry, Ed, but all of them are going out the window here. All those secrets are.
So you guys, how many people would you say come out? Because I've been watching it for a while now and blown away by it, because I know how much work goes into it. For one, maintaining a space, trying to plan it all, shoot it, edit it. Just the building of what you've done here is so much work. I can't even believe it. But how many people do you have come out? Like, what's a day look like? A day in the race world of MTRC? Is it a long day, short day?
So we're talking days, as in multiple. We're now the weekend before, just to save myself time and headache and an already bad back from getting worse. We're going out the weekend before to do the actual setup of it. So, putting up the backdrop, building the track. The track is built ground up every time. We don't leave.
You don't leave it set up?
We can't. It's actually on family property, and they use that barn to store things. It's a barn on an old farm in the middle of nowhere, basically. And so they use that barn to store things. So we have to tear that down every time. What was that?
You have to pull stuff out that's being stored in order to set up?
Well, we have the barn has a closet that we have taken over. So it's a maybe like 8x8 closet that everything's stored in. And then in one corner is a pile of dirt.
You guys are more crazy than I thought.
Oh, yeah. There's a pile of dirt in one corner that gets torn out every time. And so we build that. So not this coming weekend, but the following weekend, I'll be out there spending the better part of a day building that track ground up, mixing the dirt with water so that it's the right consistency, and putting the backdrop up, and, just getting everything set up. And then we usually get there the night before, and it's just kind of a big hangout session for whoever wants to show up. And, we finish it off and do the stuff that we need that can't be done a week before.
Okay.
And, hang out, go up to, there's a local pizza place up the road from there, go and have a pizza, and then come back and get up the next morning. And it's always on Saturday morning, and we start racing. And I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 people at most. Everybody brings at least 2 trucks of class so that we have plenty of,
That's still a long day.
Oh, it is. It is.
Dude, how many classes was it? There's the old school, the vintage, heritage.
Yeah, the old school, which is heritage, which is the tractor tire and the 48-inch stuff. So the early 80s, late 70s stuff, and then the retro, or what we call vintage, and then the sportsman class. So it's 3 classes. We don't run everything every time. Like we like this next one is not going to be really conducive to freestyle, so it's going to be mainly just racing. Maybe a little bit of like car crusher wheelies stuff, but we're actually going to try to replicate the an old show from the USHRA back in 1987. So
Okay.
try to copy a track to the T and just do our version of that event.
Speaking of wheelies, while we talk, I'm going to pull up your wheelies video here that we were talking about a second ago. This is wicked cool.
Yeah, this was from our very first event. So this is we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary. So if you see the backdrop doesn't look anything like it did. It's just half of one side basically.
Yeah.
And so, we did that as kind of a test. This was really just kind of a test day for us.
And seizure warning on that front end of that video.
So yeah,
so this was your test.
Yeah.
So it doesn't wrap either. You said okay. So it's just that one side.
Yeah. So this was the very first one. So it didn't wrap yet. We hadn't built the frame, and there is a frame behind that wrap. It's not just like strung up. There's a frame on the ends, so you can see people in the background. That was actually my mom and my son in the background. But yeah, this was just
also raced, as we said earlier. He has the Wild Child and then the Warhorse.
Yeah, his Warhorse is coming up here in this video real soon here. But it's funny. I talked about we don't do brackets. We don't do real scoring either. This was all just made up after the fact. So
and for the video, you just put in scores.
Yeah, we kind of stopped doing that, honestly, because it was just like, people don't care. People just want to see little trucks look like big trucks. So.
Yeah, so you just throw it up the two names because you still are doing names, who's facing who, and then you just watch it run off for the racing.
Exactly.
Okay.
So there's the little guy there. Yeah. So that was he was just shy of his 9th birthday in this one, out there winning wheelie contests, because that's what he's good at. He's good at throwing those things past vertical like that. Nice
crumple on the body there.
Yep.
That's a good angle.
Well, while I'm thinking about it, I noticed, the one thing you don't see in our videos now as opposed to back then are people in the background. And one of the people that was in the background was actually my dad, and today is his birthday. So I want to say happy birthday, Dad.
Very cool. Big happy birthday. Yep. Cool that they're coming out to watch you guys run. That's awesome.
Yeah. They're I think since this was the first time, they were a little concerned because a couple of these guys they hadn't met yet. So, and then we actually called it the 48 class because we didn't have a name for it yet. But
those are the smaller tires.
Yeah, those are 3D printed tires. I want to say at the time they took about 40 hours each to print.
The actual tires are 3D printed?
Yes.
So are they the flexible?
You know what? I don't know if I can answer that. I don't think so. I think they're a little bit harder material, but yeah, they
super scale though with it.
Oh yeah, and that's. I mean, even some of like the smaller scale tires we don't even allow in that class. Like it's basically those and the tractor tires are all we'll allow. So, we wanted to keep this as true to life as possible. So those tires are a true 48-inch scale tire. They're not fudged in any way, shape, or form. Like they are to the millimeter a perfect 48-inch scale tire.
Bigfoot shuttle, nice.
But yeah, and part of seeing all the stuff in the background is part of the reason why we put the ends on the arena is we wanted to, close it off and make it look more, more real, even more realistic than it did.
That was a good one. They're super cool. I love the wheelies.
That's my favorite part. It has been, and nobody does it. I haven't seen too many groups out there that do it because it's
retro
not
freestyle, right? Basically, quick wheelie pop competition. Super
pretty
cool.
Much. Yeah, and we'll do like straight up car crushes where it's like an old pulling track where they roll the cars out and they crush a couple of cars. And those are my favorite videos, or anything labeled car crush, because
here's a vintage car crush.
Yeah, this is why we started MTRC, basically, was to do these scale car crushes like this, because we wanted it to look as close to real as possible. And this kind of shows, this is from our latest event just about a month ago, and it really shows what our how far it's come. Like you just saw the very first event. Well, this is the latest event.
See, that's good footage right there coming out of the tunnel.
Yeah.
But it's Josh Rhodes. We'll skip this one.
Yeah.
Guy doesn't know how to drive.
But when we take the tires off the Barbie cars, when they're not still stuck to them, we stuff them down in the cars like they used to, so they go flying everywhere. And Ross Henshaw, yeah, exactly. Ross Henshaw printed us up the 3D cones, so we've got
the hay bales. Where do you get those? Those are epic.
Hobby Lobby.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yep, they sell them at Hobby Lobby. So there's another secret, Ed, that I'm letting out. That
well, I've seen some there, and I was gonna guess Hobby Lobby if they were the ones from the craft area. Yeah.
Yep. And if you notice up above, we actually put up a couple of computer monitors to look like the old scoreboard on the arena. Yeah. So that's kind of the latest touch.
Nice Whoa, what's that? That's nice. So those are from I recognize those as well.
Another Hobby Lobby buy. We are Hobby Lobby junkies.
So scale people, man. Hobby Lobby has so much scale stuff.
Oh yeah, they absolutely do. They don't show up quite as much in this video, but over along the wall we have scale track workers that are old like wrestling figures, and we actually have a scale announcer over there as well that stands on the side of the track. We just put together a 1/10 scale starting light, like Christmas tree setup.
Oh yeah.
It actually works via remote control, so it actually lights up red to green.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that'll be really cool, and it's small in scale.
Yeah, it's shaped just like the old one from the TNT Motorsports days, just painted up, in our colors with the black and the orange, and has the lights up on top of it. So
Josh says, "Don't you dare skip this perfection."
sorry.
Oh,
Josh.
We got twisted up. So I was watching a race the other day, and you were scoring it when they'd go off track. That's a nice rollout too. So when you're scoring the racing, there's penalties, right? Like, so it's a 5-second or 2-second penalty.
Yeah. I mean, we still run hard, and I say we don't run brackets, which is true, but we still run hard, and, we still want to win. So yeah, like that, any of those racing clips are pretty cool. Yeah. And this is our sport mod or sportsman class. So, they
still have to make a hard corner on one of them. Oh, so this is the straight line.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
And this was a good day of racing. Here's my kid beating the
nice
old
wheelie through that one too.
Yeah,
he beat him.
But
this is just good fun stuff here. So what motors are these running?
These are running 17. Yeah, so the typical sport mod rules of 17 turn motors.
Okay.
So that's
they're quick for that little area.
Oh yeah. So this is more like a today's monster truck show type event there.
Yep.
Actually, that little gray truck is my sport mod, and it's actually a leaf sprung truck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little bouncy ball out there, but it's fun to drive.
You got a nice little. That was a very scale. Jumping into the other lane there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Getting all off. Well,
there's Josh. That was a nice save he made, by the way. Nice job, Josh.
That was very nice. Wildfoot. Is this him too with Grave Digger?
No, that's Jordan's digger truck. Okay. Josh has his Digger 7, which that's actually it right there. That thing
right there with the lights. Yep, and the chassis. Yeah, these are awesome, man. I love this short. The wheelies going through. It's just so epic.
Yeah, we really wanted it to be as close to realistic as possible, and this is like with the stuff that I do now, traveling the road with the Toughest Tour and those guys. It's definitely close to what it looks like in the arena shows that I get to shoot. So
this is perfectly called, right? So the super scale replay. This is a very scale crash.
Yeah.
Rolling up on the cars and off.
Yeah, and we'll have another trade secret, I guess. We'll have, races that maybe don't look quite as scale. We don't show them. I've got as much footage of stuff that, it looked goofy or it didn't look, it looked like RCs and not like monster trucks.
Yep.
I've got that squirreled away that, just hours of that stuff. So this is all the stuff that looked cool and looked realistic and didn't look like, RC trucks flipping around. So
how many races do you guys kick off in a day? That was a nice bounce.
So every truck races every other truck twice. So per class, let's say, if we've got 8 guys out there, each one has 2, each one has 2 trucks, you're talking, what is that? 16 races, 32 races per truck or whatever it is. I mean, my math isn't working right.
That's
right
a good
now,
day though. Getting out there. That's a lot of runs.
Yeah. And we've got it down to pretty well a fine art to where everybody pretty much knows what they've got to do. And so
I recognize that Samson. That's a Matthew Hall build. That's actually one that Travis built that's very similar to Matthew's truck. Oh, is it?
Yeah, but Travis actually has the, it's got the full cantilever in the back, and I'm not as familiar with Matthew's to know if he's got that. But yeah, Travis just actually built that, and that's one of the cool things about it is he built that solely for MTRC because he wanted the most scale looking truck possible. So that's what guys are doing now. Josh, I know, is putting together a retro truck for just for us. And it's a little bouncier. It's not quite as smooth. It's not a race truck. It's a look good truck. So
Ed says Travis got that from Matt.
Perfect. Okay, so it is Matt.
I thought it looked the chrome rims. That's a very Matthew Hall thing to do.
Oh. Thanks, Ed. I didn't know. Well, now I do. Sorry, Matt. If you're out there, I apologize.
It's a nice truck.
Oh,
we had it over here at my house. That was a good save with it too.
Yep.
But yeah, that's the I have one of the cantilever ones right here, the Bigfoot.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I have is the ZEI chassis with the cantilever.
Okay.
But
yeah. So one thing I just noticed, like with I'm noticing things about my own stuff here, but we have different videos that play for each class up on the screen. So like the one for retro, it looks like the old just like light up scoreboard with the real basic scoreboard look.
Yeah. And so on that back wall, screens, you change it.
Yeah, and then the one for sportsman actually looks like a modern something that I'd create for like the Toughest Tour or one of these other tours to play on their screens and their arenas now. So
cool. So trying to find one of these, it went down and back like Jay.
Oh, okay. We did one that was a
and it was very tight, like making that corner for everybody and then coming back. Like keeping it on the cars, going down and hooking and coming back was really tough.
We've got a couple obstacle course videos. That maybe we've also got a couple or one where we did a Chicago style. But the obstacle course might be in the kind of the newest videos because I know we did that this last time. We did an obstacle course. Yeah, the second video there is vintage obstacle.
This might be it.
And
so this is it. They were doing single runs, and then you were timing it.
Correct. Yeah.
This was cool.
Yeah, and it's actually the course is basically a single lane of the Houston 1987 event. Almost. There's a few little changes to it, but we just ran that as an obstacle course. So it's a pyramid of cars in the far lane that they have to crawl up over, and guys were really struggling with that, just like they did in real life. So it was a pretty cool little scale track to run.
Ed saying I talked to Travis way too much about that truck. I love this outlaw truck here.
Yeah, that's Mike White's truck. He runs with the Childress guys. If you're not familiar with them, Lonnie used to drive for Bigfoot, and Jason actually used to drive Gravedigger, among other trucks. So they it's kind of an honor to have those guys out, but you know, they're buddies just like everybody else. They're just good friends. So
That's awesome.
What's cool about their stuff is every single truck that Lonnie and Jason run are trucks that they drove in real life. So Lonnie drove First Blood at one point.
Okay.
Jason drove King Crunch at one point. You know, that's so
10-second penalty on this one.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'd have to look at it again to see what he probably hit got off track or
he did get what do you have to do? First two tires?
Yeah,
tires have to hit every obstacle.
Yep.
And how many second penalties is it per miss? 5?
5, yeah.
Okay, so he must have missed twice. I was trying to figure out because I think he misses.
Oh, there's one.
And then this one,
that one, and then this one here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just trying to figure out how you were scoring it. I watched this one several times. I really liked the obstacle course and the timing and
cool.
Nobody's going fast because again, it's so narrow. People don't realize how hard it is to keep it on.
Oh yeah, that track is 12 feet wide. And that is not a lot, you know, when and the whole track is 12 feet wide. So really that turning radius is like 3 feet.
Do you have to do 4 steer to run there?
On these trucks, yeah, the sportsman trucks, we actually didn't run on the obstacle course. We just did freestyle that day. So this was just, you know, we did the car crush this day with the vintage class. We did the obstacle course that you're watching now, and then we did sport freestyle.
So Jessica's 2-car garage says this video reminds me of being at Anaheim 4 rows back in 1991.
That's like one of the best compliments that people can pay us is this looks like a real event, or this looks like an event I went to. You know, we live for that. You know, all of our guys just, you know, it's that labor of love to try to make it look as real as possible. And so, you know, anytime anybody says something like that to us, we really, really appreciate that.
Well, all your mashups and everything too that you're doing are just, you can tell how much cool stuff there is.
Oh yeah.
Goes on, like as you watch all these different things, all the different hits and the how scale all of this stuff actually looks.
Yeah, and I treat this almost identically to the way I treat the full scale monster truck stuff that I get to shoot. In that, you know, after each event, I go through every piece of footage and cut it down and pull the highlights out so I know I have it set aside. So when somebody asks us for some kind of highlight video, boom, it's, you know, it's right there and available.
Boeing RC garages. I miss the old days of monster trucks back when they were backyard built.
Yeah, and that's, you know, so do we. And that's why we're here, you know.
Jonathan Arnold says, "What's up?"
Jonathan, how are you, bud? Oh, man. I don't get to see him as much anymore, but great dude. Talented. Yeah, actually, he did.
Talented. Yeah, he does.
Jonathan did the graphics on this truck.
Okay.
So
he does graphic stuff.
Yeah, that's what is it? JB Graphics.
Yeah, JB Scale.
That's the guy. Yeah, that's Jonathan. Talented guy. Yeah, the little guy struggled a bit on this one.
It's not easy, especially doing really 4 steer, keeping it straight, hitting every obstacle. I think it's amazing what you guys are doing.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it because that's, you know, it's a lot of hard work, you know, to set up, but I wouldn't do it any other way just because it's so the end product is so worth it. You know, see that and like I'll watch these back and just be amazed at how good it looks. And you know, that's a testament to the people that we have running with us because driving them, they understand it. Like Josh's trucks, Josh could crank his stuff up to 150% and, you know, be driving through our backdrop in the air or upside down on fire if you wanted to.
Yeah, and landed on all 4.
Yeah, but he gets it, and you know, he goes out there and he puts on a scale show. And he understands what we're going for, and that's that's what's cool about this group is they all get it. They all understand what we're going for and what we're trying to replicate. And
everything was so controlled. Like everybody, even through this obstacle course, like you know, part of me would want to be like, man, that stacked up cars just kind of hit it, but you know, try and get over it quick. But they're all kind of taking it easy, going over like they would have in real life. It's very scale.
Yeah, and that's the idea. It's scale first. It's everything else second. And you know, we call it super scale, and that's really what it is. Is you know, everybody has to be on board with it, and they
well,
and
back
they
when it
are
was backyard built too. You know, they weren't fiberglass bodies. You roll those things over. You didn't want to roll off the cars.
Oh yeah, and I mean, like our car crushes and any of them, if you roll over in the car crush on the first hit, you're done. There's no flip it back over. Now our sport mod stuff with the freestyle, we'll run it kind of more like regular RC rules. But like with our retro stuff, if you roll over, you're done. Period. You know, you're done with that event. And so you
don't get your second ones against the other people.
What was that again?
You don't even get to race the other people. You're done for the day.
You like in racing, we'll bring them back, but you know, like in the car crush, it like we had like the video you showed with all the lights and whatnot. That was Jason's like second hit, you know, and he rolled over and you're done. You know, that's it. So we try to treat it as scale as we possibly can, but you know, we're also there to have fun. So that's
That's very cool. Well, I like the idea of keeping a scale because again, it makes people run it more realistically. That was, so I started doing the racing with the No Limit RC guys, and you know, when I started, I was all basher. Like I got into it, and RC was just like, oh man, how far can I jump them? How big can I jump them? Then you know the SMT10 came out. I went to my first race, and I thought, you know, I watched the retro class and I was thinking, okay, that's interesting. But like the first time I raced it, it's like, okay, this is my favorite thing ever because it's much more controlled. Anything can happen when you hit those crush cars. Everything's unpredictable.
Yeah.
They're bouncy. And I love that you guys are keeping them super bouncy.
Yeah,
and we're doing now because it's so much about racing. Everybody's lowering them and stretching them, and the suspension is now like, I mean, it's pretty much a pro mod running the original ladder frame, you know, Link type style.
Correct.
But they've got them working there.
We just didn't want that. I mean, it's you know, that's the other thing. I mean, with our tracks, I mean, those are Barbie cars, and so they're only so wide, and we don't make our ramps, you know, 3 feet wide. Our ramps are just as wide as those Barbie cars. So, you know, you either hit it straight and make sure you're lined up, or there's no wiggle room there.
Yeah.
And so that adds to the scale. That also adds to the bouncy and the crazy, and then you never know what's going to happen with the retro trucks. So
right. Yeah, no, I like it a lot. I like that idea. And then making sure that you have to hit with the front two tires. Because we've been doing, I think 2 tires have to hit, but they can do like both left sides. So like you do the wood log stacks. If you just left side them, you just roll over them. It's not the same as front 2 tires hitting and skywheeling the truck, you know. You can hit it at speed if you just left tire it.
In a pure racing environment, which you know, real monster trucks have almost never been that. There's been a couple of exceptions over the years where it's been pure racing, but really where the industry is now and where it was back in the day, you know, it's a show first. It's not, you know, and that's what we wanted to replicate. And that's, you know, that's my background, you know, between the television stuff that I do and, you know,
so a lot of what you're doing is about making the video. Like you want the way you're running it. Yeah. So guys coming out, hanging out, having fun, doing scale racing, but it's all about making a video where there's close racing and it's just a good time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's more fun for everyone, you know, and I'll put what we do up against anybody out there as far as fun. And there's never an argument because, you know, oh, well, you know, somebody was, you know, 2-tired that ramp. Okay, who cares? You know, it's going to look cool in the video. Oh yeah, I guess it is, you know, so nobody there's no, oh man, that was an awesome race. I really think I got you there. You know, there's none of that. It's, oh man, that looks so cool. Oh man, that looks so realistic. And that's more
close. Like you want that like super slow-mo replay. Who came across the line first?
Yeah.
Like that's what it's all about. Even like going to Monster Jam nowadays when they're racing.
Well,
My
yeah.
favorite race isn't the one who win. It's the one when they're putting it up on the screen and you're watching the slow motion to see who actually crosses first.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
those are the coolest. I mean, yeah, it's, there's a lot of legit racing out there where, it's 4 or 5 truck lengths and, oh man, that guy was really fast. Well, I was kind of bored by that. Oh man, that race was slow, but man, it was close. And
left
what
him in the dust.
do is slow and close. So,
and that's where so people don't understand, and I've changed. So the longer I've been in RC, the longer I've been doing this, the more I've changed because, doing YouTube as I do, the first question everybody always asks is, well, how fast does it go? I'm like, what matter? Like the Bari build truck I have, that big I'm like, I don't know. Like I never put like, it goes too fast. I never run it above half throttle.
Yeah.
Because it's insane. It's one, it doesn't look scale, and 2, it's scary. It's terrifying how fast it goes.
Yeah.
But I'll use it in the air if I need to save it and get the nose up. But it's not about that. It's about how it drives and trying to make it look kind of realistic now to me.
Yeah, and that's our whole purpose. I mean, we'll do 1 or 2 events a year. I mentioned earlier the MAP Motorsports, which they do events in this part of the country, and one of the longest standing promoters of events out there. And they have us out to an event at Lucas Oil Speedway every year in Wheatland, Missouri, which is just a world-class facility. Awesome people, really gracious enough to let us do. And that's where we kind of air it out a little bit more. And that's where we run the Pro Mod trucks and, that we know that the people there.
It draws the fans in. Yeah, they'll come in.
Exactly. And when you've got 150, 200, 300 people standing around our little performance area, just, then, that's what that's for there. But that's not what we're geeks for. We're geeks for the realism. And that's, we want them to bounce all over the place. And our first question isn't how fast, it's how does it look? And they all look good.
I still remember some people that came to one of our races, and it was like retro had just been set up, and they came and they're like, "That's it? Like all these guys were here to do that?" A little bouncing and
different mindset.
Yeah, totally different. But when you bring the fast ones out, they're like, "Holy cow! Did you see how fast that went, or how far it jumped?" But when you watch it on video, it's super amazing when it looks really scale.
Yeah.
And from what I've seen with what you're doing, now like Big America's doing with like the Monster Jam style freestyle tricks and things that he's doing, and he's doing the sound effects. You've probably seen his stuff on Instagram.
Yeah.
But trying to do the modern tricks and do that side of it, but keeping it not like just launching it,
Yeah. And I mean, I've done some measurements, I guess, and I've seen like the still photos of a 1/10 scale truck that if that were a real life truck, it'd be 75 feet in the air. Well, if a real monster truck jumps 75 feet in the air, you've got a dead driver at the end of the jump.
Yeah.
You're going to kill them. I mean, it's just, these guys are getting dinged up doing 30-foot jumps.
They're pushing the boundaries as it is.
Yeah. And we, as cool as it is to see an RC truck do that, and I still ooh and ah when I see guys, especially like I said, at like that outdoor event that we do, we'll have guys jump over people's heads, and it's like, whoa, that is sweet, but it's not my bread and butter.
Yeah. Well, for video, I mean, it's a different thing. Like you throw it up as like, dude, look at all this stuff, carnage. Like we did, USTE had a pro line bash ramp, and they were just sending them as high as they could. And
it's amazing.
It's super fun to watch, but you're watching them landing like, ooh, they're going to be working on that for a week.
Well, I know Josh has been working on one from a Trigger King race that he's been working on for a while. When I saw him with you the other day, I was like, oh my gosh. And we don't have to do that at the end of our day. We don't do that. We don't break much out there, and that's another plus of it is it doesn't cost us much at the end. Yeah.
Well, I forgot where I was going when I was talking earlier. So my kids and I, we run those little speedster type cars, the Axial Can-Am Yeti Juniors.
Oh, yeah.
So we took those and we had them painted by Darkside up in Michigan, airbrush to be Max D Fire. Soldier of Fortune ice, and then I have just a Gravedigger one that like they do in the Stadium series, and or the smaller is it Stadium, is that what they call it? Arena?
The arena, yeah.
It's just the smaller, the arena,
yeah,
or the
the
smaller,
arena, yeah, the arena.
it'll be the arena shows, and so we have those, but we just run them completely stock,
Yeah,
brushed, and people are like, oh, you can make them so fast. I'm like, they're all the same. Like, it's so fun to race them because the speed is matched and it's cheap.
yeah, yeah.
And honestly, it's fast enough. The fun is the competition and the laughter.
Yeah, and the coolest trucks, like the ones that I'm like love to watch, are our stock quads.
Yeah,
because we've got 2 or 3 of them that run with us, and they're so bouncy and unpredictable and realistic. And what I know as a kid watching old
friction stock,
USA
like
Today
friction
stuff,
springs and everything are stock, or
everything. Like they're
steering is
as far as I know, we have 2 bone stock. I know my son's truck, other than the body, is a bone stock clodbuster.
Okay.
Body, wheels, and tires are the only thing that's different on it. And
that's
I think
the Warhorse. So he runs the single servo in the middle.
Well, no, okay, all right. So yeah, now that you say that, it's the dual servo setup
On axle, yeah. Okay.
So slightly, but I mean, other than that, it's
friction springs and everything.
Yeah, correct.
Nice.
Yeah, his is other than the steering. I guess I left that out, but other than the steering, his is bone stock.
That's, I mean, I would love a class like that. That's where I feel like retro needs to go next. Is like, okay, retro stock class, like stock chassis, stock.
Yeah, and
wheels,
when you're running competition, like true competition, where guys are paying their entry fee and coming in, you're never going to keep it there. I mean, unless you make a spec class like they're doing with the the LMT. A lot of these groups are doing now. But even then,
you're gonna shave weight somewhere, and you're gonna take it apart and change bearings, and
exactly.
You want that little advantage. You're gonna go ceramic bearings, or you're gonna,
yeah. And I know Travis Sutton and I, we go back and forth, and he talks about, and I've talked to like Matt Stoltz and to Josh and to these guys, and they'll talk about all these like, oh, well, you can do this with the motor, and I have this guy in Zimbabwe that hand winds my motors. I'm making Zimbabwe up, but he hand winds my motors, and they're like $150 a pop, and it's like, I don't care that much about this. Like, I just want to go out and have fun with them, and make them look cool and look like what I used to watch, and that's what we do. So.
Well, see, I bought my first 2 retros like completely made already. And I didn't ever think about changing stuff to make it. I didn't know if they did or whatever. I just know I wanted the old grandma digger truck. Somebody offered to sell me one.
Nice.
It was on like the ZRP race chassis that they did, the retro racer, which apparently people wanted. I didn't know that. So it's a little bit stretched, but that's to fit the wheelbase of the truck.
Yeah,
but I didn't buy it because it had a stretched wheelbase. It actually would get hung up on our pit, and because the wheels were spread, it wouldn't grip on the inside. You'd literally high center it. So it was actually a disadvantage. But so but then I found out certain people weren't allowing carbon fiber and different things, and I'm like, I had no idea. It's just like I wanted a retro truck that looked and bounced, and
and that's our whole thing. I gotta kind of, it's funny we talk about like pits and mud stuff. There's a guy out of Canada by the name of Mike Krieger, who is as old school fan as they come, and he's been building one of his retro trucks for like 3 or 4 years, maybe longer. But he keeps saying he wants to come down to us, and he made me promise him that we would build a real mud pit through the middle of our arena. So if he ever shows up, we're going to have some actual true mud bogging, old school monster truck mud bog footage.
When they would do it as a part of all the drag and all that kind of stuff.
Yep, where they'd come out after the show was done and tear the bottom out of the pit with the 66-inch tires. Well, I'm sure Josh just like got a full body shudder when I said that, but I know I'm
running through the mud.
Yeah.
Clodbuster would be a little bit of a pain, I think, going through the mud.
Yeah, I'm sure it will, but it's going to be fun.
Cleaning out those gearboxes.
So if Mike is watching, because he said he was going to, if he's watching, Mike, I promise you, I will build you that mud pit if you come down from Canada to our little barn in Missouri to run with us, and that'll be some footage.
So what is Ed's truck? What one is he running? They're saying it's really fun to watch go around the track.
Yeah, Ed has the King Crunch, and his is one of the mostly stock Clodbusters.
That's the one that had all the lights and all that we watched and rolled over.
No, his had.
We
His
pulled
is,
up
I
a
mean,
video
his is
that had
just,
King Crunch on it.
yeah. He's got a sport mod King Crunch too, so it's probably in both videos. Oh no, okay. So the one in with all the flash bulbs, that was the I guess the newer older King Crunch. That's Jason Childress's truck. But Ed has it's actually a stock Clod body, just with the old school King Crunch graphics on the side. So I'm not sure. I'd have to find it in one of the videos, but
I was just gonna see if I could pull it up and see it bouncing around. I love watching the old school bounce.
I know the most recent car crush video that we did, he did really, really well in that, and it looked like one of the Mad Men from the early the mid '80s out there. It looked just like it. I mean, it was a really cool run that he put together on that one. So
here's the MTRC one. This is the latest one, I think.
Yeah, if it's the most recent one that's labeled Car Crush, that's the one. Ed's King Crunch is in there, and it's a white Clodbuster body, like a white Chevy body.
Is this it here?
Let's see.
With the little star.
Yeah, that's probably it. Sounds like it. I'm not seeing it on the screen, so
yeah, King Crunch. Here it is. I was gonna say it looked like the graphics to it.
Yep.
So that's running an actual Cloudbuster body and everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's his. I mean, I think he's got the steering on the axles, but other than that, yeah, that's another one that's basically bone stock.
We have a guy that races his, and it he's got the steering on axle. But I think that it makes a more scale when you can independently do your rear and your. Yeah, that's nice. But he runs it bone stock. I mean, single servo and everything. He always does well.
There's still, it's amazing for a truck designed in like 1986 and built in 1987 that it still can compete with. Yeah, there's Ed. But yeah, you just see the way it bounces. I mean, it looks like a show from like 1988.
I was sitting here talking about it, and I'm watching it, and I'm realizing I hadn't put it up on the screen for you guys. Oh, backwards.
That's the other thing we do with our footage is we actually do slow it down. It's not slow-mo. It's not like half speed. I sat and did, and I mean, this kind of adds to the geek factor of it, but it's part of what makes it cool is I looked at enough old footage and was matching our jumps to the old footage jumps so that they timed out right, and we found a percentage that we slow it down to that actually makes it, look a lot more scale.
More realistic. Yep.
Yeah. So it's none of it's playing at 100%. And that definitely.
So you overcrank it when you shoot it, which gives you that room to be able to.
Yeah,
it's all 60.
It's all 60 frame, 1080p. So
you can slow it down to, and your playback is at 30.
Try to remember to always do 24. I'm not going to say I'm perfect at always remembering that, just because when you bounce back and forth, for a living doing one or the other. But I try to make it all 24 in the final. So it has
TV back then. What you'd have been used to seeing anyway would have been 30, 29.97. Yeah. So it would feel realistic versus cinematic.
Yeah, and I like the touch of cinematic to it. That's the clip that we put the sound.
That was that's a great rollover.
Yeah, it's about the most scale rollover I think we've seen out there, and that covers a lot of ground. So,
how many of these have you done now? So you started what, about 2 years ago?
yeah, we started in May of 2019. We don't do them. We're not like an every month situation. We just kind of do them when we find time. I want to say we've probably done like 8 of them maybe at this location, and then 3. I want to say we're up to 3 events outside of this location.
Dan says Mike will never finish it.
That's probably
You don't
correct.
have to worry about him coming.
Well, Dan, go up there and like cattle prod him or whatever it's going to take to finish up that truck so he can bring it down here, because I want to build a mud pit so bad. But you know, I it needs to be for a special occasion, and I think, you know, a guy crossing borders to come find us is probably a special enough occasion.
It might be another year before that happens.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, where they're doing that parade with the Monster Truck Hall of Fame, but they're also doing the grand reopening in their new building up there. And Mike is so bummed out because the border's closed because all the COVID stuff. So he can't come to it, and that really sucks for him because he's Mr. Old School, that guy. So
I'm gonna go and throw up here your page so people can subscribe. I'm gonna throw it over in the chat. You guys need to go and subscribe to these. Hit the bell on it. I didn't ding the bell apparently. Oh, I did. I have personalized though. I want all.
Yeah, we're a couple of weeks from our next one. It's actually going to be on May 1st, so we'll be out there doing the next one on May 1st, and have 3 or 4 videos up from that one. And now with that, the stuff with the flash bulbs and the sounds, we kind of are starting to, and that's going to be an Instagram only thing where we call it ultra scale, and it's adding the next touch. So we're gonna make that kind of a regular video because we got a lot of cool response to that one. So
they might work as YouTube shorts too.
Yeah, and
the new shorts feature. I posted that video of Ryan Anderson doing the backflip with the Primal monster truck. Mm-hmm. That thing's got like 200,000 views on it. It's like
yeah. That I've been looking into it, and I think that's going to be kind of the next step. Is that it's going to go from Instagram only to Instagram and YouTube shorts. So just any way we can, expand the reach is kind of fun.
Well, I think, you guys are not far away from having it like blow up, because that scale factor and the cool factor has all the components of being the viral video that picks up, and people are like, dude, check this out. These are toys that look so realistic. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you see that kind of stuff go crazy, and it just needs that first little legs pushing it, and I think it's going to go nuts.
All right, just for my own, scroll back down real quick on that page, and you're just going to see what looks like a wall of toilet paper.
I saw that. Yes, right here.
Yeah. So right as the whole pandemic thing started, we had our guys shoot with like their cell phones or whatever they had, them doing something with their trucks, and we called it the quarantine challenge.
Oh yeah.
And just like slap edited it all together. Well, we ended the video with that clip, and it's my boy Alex, who's sitting, just to my left here, driving his retro through a wall of toilet paper. So instead of the steel wall stunt, it was the toilet paper wall stunt.
Let's roll it up here.
Yeah, this was one of the most fun things I ever had somebody do with RC trucks.
When everybody's trying to find toilet paper, you're smashing through it.
We're driving through a wall of toilet paper and paper towels.
And paper towels. We don't care. That's awesome. You see the lights coming? That's
the lights were really like a really cool touch on that truck, and that was he saw the old Pony Express truck and thought, man, Dad, we really got to have those on there. And so I had to learn to wire things up, and on a bigger scale than I had before. But it that was up at the Monster Truck Hall of Fame when Gary Bauer had rebuilt had done a clone of the original Lone Ranger. And I know there's also another picture of Ross's Bad Habit sitting on the tire.
Yeah, that's such a great Bad Habit truck.
Yeah.
The design on that is just killer.
Yeah, I actually in June at one of the Map Motorsports shows get to see that thing run in person for the first time. I'm pretty excited for it. So
it's such a nice build, the real one and the RC one as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
These are some of your bigger stuff you're talking about. Where you're
that's at Lucas Oil Speedway, and that's kind of the setup. We run with a group called Busted Axle RC out of they're just north of the Kansas City area.
Okay.
And so they provide the ramps. It's AJ Dial and his crew out there. Great friends of ours. They've just been, over the last couple of years, become really good friends. And they provide the ramps. We kind of, through our connections with Map Motorsports, through the Monster Blog stuff, we provide the location, I guess, in a way. And it's a really cool show. And the show itself, the full size show, is one of the best outdoor shows that there is. Backflips and, huge air and top name trucks. And
yeah.
And so we try to match that as much as we can. And that's about the only place anymore that I spend a lot of money every time I run there, because we just destroy stuff. Yeah. And this last year we actually had John Zimmer Jr. run with us up there. So little John raced his RC truck up there with us. So we had a good time with that too.
That's cool. Is this your first one here? 919?
No, that's probably
later in the year.
Third one. Yeah. So that's where we had just gotten the full wrap done. Actually, that track is pretty much a scale. Now that's the
the first one. Okay. Yeah.
So you can see the barn in the background, and all of that on the left is pretty much torn out just for us to stand and have room and race now. But it was kind of Wild West, literally and figuratively, that first time.
Have you ever thought about taking it and setting it up at an event where you'd run it and do a show?
We would have to completely rebuild how we do it.
Okay.
Because the frame really only covers the ends, and the barn posts kind of cover the side. Yeah. That one side. And actually the frame connects to the barn posts. It really solidly connects to it when we put it together. So it would take a complete rethought of how we do it to be able to pull that off.
I get it. I just thought about it. You mentioned you'd done some of the other stuff at shows and events. I wonder if you ever had done it with or thought about doing it where you bring the whole little arena for people to see.
We've thought about it, but it would take so much, honestly, time, money, effort. And the money part is probably the biggest deterrent to that, because obviously we're not afraid of the effort, but it's a thought that's crossed our minds, but it's just not doable, unfortunately.
Well, I love what you guys are doing. I remember the first time Josh Rhodes is the one that showed it to me. He said he'd been doing it, and I watched the videos. I saw your page on Facebook first, is what I saw first. And then went to the videos from there, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, from a video standpoint, like really, really well put together. And then, the way that you were racing as well, just being super scale, was like everything was just over the top. And again, I think that it's probably not far from a few people catching their eyes on it that just get like a share thing going on some of these videos, and it blowing up. So I really believe it, because it's got all the elements of something that goes viral.
No way. So there he's back.
Me? I was gone.
It all went away on my end just for like 2 seconds there.
Oh,
so.
It may have.
We're back.
And I was just saying, I think it's all about ready to just kind of. It feels like something that'll go viral. Kind of everything will blow up once it gets the right eyeballs, and it feels like it should just. And that YouTube story might be something, or the shorts might even be something like with that one you just did with the lights and the flashing. That'll get into that reel, and get people subbing through it.
It's definitely been something over the last couple of weeks. That video's been out maybe about a week, maybe a little longer. And as I was getting ready to post that, I found the shorts thing. So I'm kind of trying to figure that out, and how to best incorporate that with what we do. And I think that's going to be where it's going to go. So
all it requires is putting a hashtag of shorts in the title, and it Has to be less than 60 seconds, and it puts it into, the thing where people get in that scroll loop where the video plays and auto plays the next, and then it can get some momentum. But yeah. Anyway, well, this is cool, Colby. Thanks for coming on here talking about this. Is there anything else that we haven't talked about, or I didn't even know to ask about that what you guys are doing, or have plans to do? Like, where do you see it going in the future?
I mean, I'm happy with where it is now. It's just, buddies hanging out and doing something cool. And it just the fact that people like it is kind of cool. I wasn't sure where it was going to fit into the, the high flying, crazy, full competition stuff. And it's like in between that and like the crawler stuff. And I know those guys are really hardcore about it. So we kind of took a little bit of like that crawler aesthetic and moved that into monster trucks. And it's just got to find, I think, like you said, it's just got to find that right market, of people that appreciate the old stuff and understand, what we're trying to do. And things like this always help. So we really appreciate, and I say we, it's definitely a we, it's not a me, it's a group effort. And this is a family that we have over here of really cool guys that put in a lot of effort on this. So we really appreciate it.
Well, it's fantastic stuff from the photos. Ed, right, Ed, doing awesome photos.
Check out his page, Tadpole Photo Studio, both on Facebook and Instagram. Give him a like, because he does a lot of stuff with Trigger King. He does stuff with the Childress guys in the series that they're starting. He's a really talented dude. Give his stuff a like. Travis Sutton, him and Ed are kind of my right and left hand with this, and Sutton Motorsports on Facebook. Check him out. Really, links,
I'll go back in and add links in the description as well to those, so that they can people can find it when they click down the link. And but this is awesome. Thanks for coming on here. Hopefully I can get out there and run with you guys sometime.
Yeah,
if we can work out
in the area and we're doing an event, you're always welcome.
If I can start getting frequent flyer miles like I used to, I'd just fly out for one if you had them going.
Oh, shoot, I miss the frequent flyer miles.
Man, that my job was international travel, like for the last 14 years, traveling internationally for video. And so I would rake them up, and I just, the different events, I just used my mileage to go to them, and, and made it pretty cheap. But, hopefully that'll start, as the world hopefully open back up here soon and get this stupid thing under control. And
amen to that.
Yeah, but anyway, hopefully we'll get out there. I keep telling Trigger King too, I need to get out to one of their things. I'd love to just see how everybody runs their stuff.
Well, and maybe we can, if you're coming out, maybe we can purposely schedule one where they're doing one on a Sunday and we're doing one on a Saturday, and we can make it a full weekend for you out here in Missouri.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I don't know if you guys take off the summer if it gets too hot or whatever, but like I said, we're going to be heading that way for Axial Fest in June. And I'm trying to make a stopover in St. Louis for a video shoot that I've got. So we'll probably be looking for a campground because we'll be RVing, and I'll have all my stuff with me anyway. So it would be cool. But if not, we'll find a different day and I'll make a road trip or fly in or something.
Well, we'd appreciate it. And like I said, you're more than welcome.
Okay. All right, Colby, thanks for doing this. Everybody, thanks for the chat.
Thanks, guys.
And again, be sure to check their thing out. Go and subscribe, hit that bell so you know when they post new videos. And we'll catch you guys next time.